But what are you doing? Who are you meeting? How are you talking to them? Are you finding out what's really eating at that person? Are you just seeing their fake Facebook life? I was having lunch with a friend just this past week. And, the question came up where we were talking about our lives and how busy we are and all the things that are going on in each other's lives. And I just looked at him and I said, how are you doing? Is everything going well? Are you feeling good? And there was this face that he made that kind of was like, not everything's great. And it was just such a powerful question. I think it's a question that we forget to ask a lot of times. Sometimes we get so caught up in telling the world what's going on in our lives, how busy we are. I have the tendency to look busy, not just be busy, but look busy, which is horrible, because then everybody's like, hey, you're so busy. I'm sorry. I don't want to bother you. And even when people you want to hear from and talk to, you feel this feeling like, I don't want to portray that to the world, but I am, right? And he was portraying this feeling that I felt. I needed to ask him how he was doing. And when I asked him, you could see his face fill up with kind of angst. And he went into detail and kind of said, look, I'm in a transition right now. It's been pretty difficult. A lot of things are changing in my life. A lot of things have been unique. It's been a very, very different year for me, career-wise, family-wise. And, we're not super close. We're close enough that we know each other well, but we don't have lunch all the time. We don't go out all the time. Our families don't have dinner together. But I was smart enough, I guess, in that moment to shut up about myself and actually listen to him and what was going on in his life. And he needed to get it off his chest. He went on to say that he's lost a bunch of weight, kind of in an unhealthy way. He's been super stressed. And we were there to accomplish some other things, and we didn't get to all those things, but we got to something that was more important. And I think what it brings up is, how many times do you see those Facebook posts or LinkedIn posts or anything that says, if you care about me, you'll comment below or like this or whatever. And it's really people just kind of asking other people to care. Someone else to really give a damn. And all too often in today's world, with this digital feeling of inclusion, you actually feel in a lot of ways like you're living this great life. You have all these friends and they're everywhere and they're all on your feed. But what are you doing? Who are you meeting? How are you talking to them? Are you finding out what's really eating at that person? Are you just seeing their fake Facebook life? Are you just seeing the positive things that are happening in someone's life? Or do you have a chance to actually ask someone over lunch if they're feeling okay? I think sometimes we don't hear enough from other people. How are you doing? No, not how is your business doing? No, not how is your family doing? How are you doing? Is there anything you need? Is there anything I can do to help? See, I feel like going at life that way is such a value add to everyone around you. When you can be a connector, you can be a connector in ways where you help people do things, you help give things to people, you help do things for people. Most importantly, you connect to them. You connect in that moment. You make someone feel like in that moment they are the most important person in the world, and maybe right now they don't feel like they're important at all. Maybe they're lost or overcome with frustration or anger or overwhelm. And I think we all get there. And in the past couple of years, it's been kind of a crazy time. There's never been more of a divisive time. Every week it's something new in the news, in the media, on Facebook, of who you're supposed to agree with, who you're supposed to disagree with. But are you asking any of those people how they're doing? And here's what came about. It came about to talking a little bit as we're walking out. I kind of went back to the conversation, just said, hey, you got to take care of yourself. And they said, I know, I need to get back in the gym and I need to do this. And they came up with like 3 things they needed to do. And I said, all that's great, but you're not going to do any of those 3 things. And they laughed. And I said, you're not. What you need to do is create some level of a tiny habit. So BJ Fogg wrote a great book in the last couple of years called Tiny Habits. And I love the book and I love the entire point behind it. And it's really about anchoring a small thing that you can do to something you're already doing. So if you know you're going to use the restroom and there's a pull-up bar right next to your bathroom, you do 2 pull-ups every time you pass it, and eventually you build a habit, right? It's anchoring things to it. And I looked at this individual and I said, hey, as we're getting in our cars and he's hopping in his, I said, look, I felt like when COVID started, I didn't know what to do. I was so overwhelmed with how we were going to function and work and all the growth that we had and all these things that were going on. I just realized that I couldn't control anything. And for the first time, I had nowhere to be. So I've told this story before. If you watch my videos, you know that the first thing I started doing several years ago in my morning routine, I anchored it to waking up. I have to wake up every day. When I wake up, I have to anchor it to something. Waking up is a great thing to anchor it to because I'm going to open my eyes. And when I open my eyes, I meditate. I use a guided meditation on a meditation app. And today I do a lot of them without the guided meditations. But when I started, that's what I did. Anchor, 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. See, it builds. And once you anchor this habit, what you realize is you need more of them throughout the day. I could tell by this person's face they're not taking enough deep breaths in the day. I can feel like breaths aren't deep at all. And when you're talking to someone and you know that's the case, if we can help them find something to anchor, a small habit, see, I could convince him in that few moments that maybe just a meditation app for 5 minutes in the morning anchored to when he opens his eyes is doable. But going to the gym, overwhelming. Just adds to the overwhelm, right? I'm not saying you shouldn't go to the gym because I believe in that and I believe in working out and staying healthy, but it's all a lifestyle, right? It's all a part of the lifestyle. Once you start doing a couple of things that make you feel better, you actually feel better and are more apt to make better decisions in other places in your life. See, it's a beautiful upward staircase to success, personal success. And so I told him, I said, look, I feel the same way that you do many times in my life. I have felt that exact same way, and I told him exactly what I just shared with you. I started meditating every morning many, many years ago, but with COVID, I added reading scripture in the morning. I needed something to ground me, something that was separate from myself, something that reminded me that there's something bigger than myself out there. And when I anchored that to my meditation, it became 5 minutes, became 15 to 20 minutes. We're not talking about an excessive amount of time that I'm not able to squeeze into my day, as busy as I appear or as I may be. But the truth is, he laughed and said, you know what, Scott, I actually think I could do both of those things. I haven't done either of those things ever in my life, and I think that'd be a really big value add. Can you remind me of that, is what he said as he was leaving. So overwhelmed, so busy, that it needed me to remind him of the idea that he thought was the best idea he'd received all day and that he needed to use. But I was going to remind him of it. And I'm doing a video about it because what better way to remind someone of how to take care of themselves than to remind them that other people care about you. And when other people care about you and they ask about you and they care enough about you to understand what's important to you and maybe what's bothering you, there's an impact there that human is making to you. And the impact also is you remember that you take care of yourself, not for yourself only, but for the people that love you. When you die and you move on, everyone left behind mourns. Everybody's upset. They miss you. They don't want you to go. And you have a lot of people in your life that are like that. I have a lot of people like that. But we have to be reminded. And sometimes you're reminded by someone just asking you the question, are you okay? Is everything all right? How are you doing today? No, not your business. Not your family. Not your spouse. How are you feeling? Giving someone the chance to get that out of their system gives them the feeling like they matter. They matter more to someone else, which then might help them get into the tiny habit that BJ Fogg talks about and building a new morning habit. I can tell you this, when I built that morning habit, I feel better every day. And when I don't do it, I actually feel horrible all day. I hold myself accountable and I go back and I redo it. I make sure that I go back and I do it sometime in the day. I make myself do it. I also find that when I started meditating, my friend Jason Campbell taught me, he's a master meditator and one of the best-selling artists of meditation music. He's amazing. And he told me just 1 minute a day, just 1 minute a day. And the secret was this: meditating for 1 minute a day is a secret because you can't do 1 minute a day. You have to do 5. And once you do 5, you need 10. And once you need 10, you need more. And then all of a sudden you realize throughout your day, through transitions, you're taking a few deep breaths and being present in the moment and realizing that everything right here is all you have to worry about. It's all you have to think about. This, right now, in this present moment, is the best time to think about nothing. Just this. I'm here. And his secret was, it's a repeatable, habitual thing that once you start doing it, it becomes a really big, again, upward staircase. It builds towards other things, other habits. So I reminded this individual that it's just 2 small things. Start with a minute. Start with a minute and a minute. You know, whatever it takes to get you started. But when you start and you build the habit, it becomes something you can't live without. And that is extremely important. But the most important thing to take from this video is, who today have you asked if they're doing okay? Who have you listened when they told you? Don't ask them just to tell them why you're not okay. Ask them to understand what's on their brain, how you can help them, what's most important to them. I guarantee you'll feel like $1,000,000, because that's the gift that shows someone that they're more important, not just to themselves, to take care of themselves, but to everyone else that loves them. I'm Scott Danner. Thanks for joining me. Hope you like it. Comment below. Tell me why or why not this is important. Do you do this? Is this something you've done recently? Tell me about a time where you asked someone something that you were shocked they shared with you. Maybe they were a close family friend. Maybe they weren't. Maybe there's someone that's just an acquaintance. Maybe someone's standing next to you in the elevator. Who knows? But caring about someone, human kindness, never goes unnoticed.